you back there for one brief second, not the Viagra point, but I want to take you back to stewards when they arrive at track work for these type of raids, so to speak. Does it throw things, is it a bit of a spanner in the works for everyone? Does it really sort of throw the schedule about?
Normally it is, but this morning it seemed to be quite smooth. I was on probably my second horse coming through the tunnel, and there was a steward waiting on the other side, and he just wrote my name down and said, when you get the chance, can you please come up to the cafeteria and do a random swab? And he also asked the girl that was with me, and I don't think we were obligated to go there and then, but it was just when it suited us. However, I had to go there at some point, so I went there straight away, and I just had to do a breath test. But I think they were swabbing and whatnot, and I think it's becoming a more regular thing. I think RVL's budget might have been increased for them to be able to do it. Yeah,
which is a positive. Let's talk about staying races and sprint races. You're really starting to build a fantastic CV with your efforts in staying races. How different is it to plan for a staying race versus doing your form for a sprint race? What do you look for? How do you assess the race?
I really enjoy riding in the staying races. I suppose getting your horse to relax for a longer time, that's probably one goal that you've got to go out there with, and trying to get your horse to run the distance, and that's part of getting your horse to switch off. And I suppose it's a lot different to riding in a sprint race, whereas you can be more tactical in a staying race, and there's probably people make mid-race moves and the pace can change, and I think every race it's all got to do with pace in how it's run, but as I said, you can be probably more tactical in a staying race.
Do you find that in Victoria, pace is more obvious in staying races versus New South Wales? I mean, the Sydney Cup looked to have been run at a hack and canter for the first, half to three parts of the race.
Yeah, and just on that race, I knew that there wasn't a great deal of pace in it. We had the scratching, which was, I can't remember the horse, but it was probably the main pace in the race. Nash was always going to go forward on Gay's horse, and I couldn't see anything else being in that positive position. So straight off the bat, I knew that just by doing my form on paper, and I went out there with a positive mindset to be in the first couple, not really lead. He's a horse that I thought raced better in midfield in the South Australian Cup. But look, I went out there to be positive, and it really worked out in my favour and ending up in the box seat. But you look at every race differently, and obviously you got to do your form, but it changes as soon as those barriers open. It can really change dynamics.
All right. I've been speaking on the program over the past couple of days about elements of marketing for racing, and should trainers and jockeys be used better as personalities. I mean, you're clearly on the front foot and always wanting to be a promotional tool for the sport, which you should be applauded about. And it's great having you on this program regularly. But do you find that other industry participants are as ready to make themselves available for promotional aspects? Do you think that they're conscious of just being participants and not being personalities?
Well, it's such a massive industry, employing probably 60,000 plus people, participants in it, and we race 363 days, I think, a year, which, unlike other sports, AFL, even tennis, a tennis player, for example, plays once or twice a month. We're riding every day, and trainers have got horses in every day, and I think it just makes it difficult to be able to utilise these great personalities that we do have in the industry.
Do you find, I mean, from the conversations that you've had with your colleagues, particularly in the jockeys' room, I mean, are you finding more and more that jockeys would like to be more active in this area?
I think so, and as I said, it's such a time-consuming affair. I suppose we're riding track work, we're riding at the races nearly every day of the week, and it just makes it hard to slot in that 10 minutes or so to be able to go and do something like that. And I think with the AFL, I think when they ask a player, don't quote me on this, but when a player's asked to do a radio gig or a TV gig, they have to drop everything and go and do it. It's part of their contract. We have, as jockeys and I suppose trainers, in our contract, we're obligated to be involved in different media commitments. However, it's not, they don't narrow it down. We're not made to do anything. And if I was phoned by RVL today and said, oh, you've got to go into channel or whatever to do whatever, I can say, well, sorry, I'm on my way to Bendigo. But I think if you're in other industries, you're made to do it.
How do you perceive the marketing and promotion of racing at the moment? I mean, would you like to see more involvement from racing participants in perhaps the direction of where and how we should be promoting the sport?
I think so, and I think we need it. I think we need to get more into the mainstream media, and I suppose I think everyone needs to work together to be able to promote the industry, and I think there's so many more things that we can do to do so. But how to structure it, I'm not sure. But I know RVL are really being proactive at the moment. I think you'll find leading into the Spring Carnival that they've been profiling jockeys, and they're going to profile trainers, and they've been making phone calls to be able to do that to the jockeys while they're on their way to the races. So I think you'll be able to get on their website leading into the Spring Carnival and get more information, and that's what we need to do. I think we need to get more information to the punters, to the public, so that people get more involved.
Which is great, but at the same time, we can't go down the process where we're just preaching to the converted. I mean, if this information, this promotional material is just going to be circulated in racing circles, I mean, it's not really going to go much further, because most racing people know who you are, Chris, or who other jockeys are, who other trainers are. I think we've got to make sure we're getting this message out to the wider masses.
Yeah, and I think leading into our previous carnivals, they've used, RVL have used people like Mark Kavanagh and Michael Rodd have been up on billboards, so they are starting to utilise these people, and I think you'll find in the future they'll be trying to do it more and more.
All right, but are you confident that racing administrators perhaps are giving enough guidance to participants as to how they should go about themselves in dealing with the media or dealing in promotional aspects?
Probably not. I think they're trying to now, for jockeys I can speak for, through the apprentice school. I think they do a lot of bits and pieces throughout the media, but it is quite daunting, and which I've realised coming in here and doing a few other bits and pieces. And there's courses out there that I would like to probably do to better myself on the radio, television, and if that's the direction I want to go in after race riding. So I think there are areas where Racing Victoria can maybe be on the front foot and maybe help people and guide them into that area to help the industry.
All right, plenty of messages are coming through, people posing questions to Chris Symons. If you'd like to get involved, 041690 5052 is the SMS. You can email racingahead@rsn.net.au or Twitter. You can get me at Global Gallop, Chris at CD Symons, or the station at RSN Sport Radio. This one from Sean. Chris, do jockeys need a different type of fitness to ride stayers as opposed to short sprint races?
Oh, I think you've got to be fit either way when you get on the horses to ride in any race, but obviously you've got to sustain a longer run on a stayer, so I suppose being fitter definitely helps, but you'd be surprised how fit the jockeys are. I wouldn't say they work out at the gym or whatnot, but I think riding horses in general is a workout, track work and in races. And I know making my comeback to race riding after my injury, there was a lot involved, but I could only get myself so fit off the horse. It wasn't until I started riding track work, you're using a completely different part of your body, and some say that you're nearly using every muscle in your body, so nothing equates to that. So I think riding gets you fitter, and that's the only way you can do it.
From Michael, what hurts you the most after riding in a staying race?
When I get beat.
But physically, do you feel it in the lungs? Do you feel it in the arms? Do you feel it in the legs?
I suppose it depends how much weight I've lost as well. Sometimes I get a little bit short of breath due to losing a fair bit of weight. Adrenaline plays a massive part in riding in a race, and you can be quite dehydrated and mentally spent, but once those barriers open, that seems to go out the window, and you just ride on adrenaline.
All right. This one is from Stephen. Chris, you're looking at doing more TV work. What you've been doing over the past 6 months has been sensational.
Yeah, I am. I really enjoy it, obviously, and I'm working on some bits and pieces at home that I really want to get up off the ground, which involve other jockeys as well. So I'm actually building a studio at home, and we want to get some stuff on air and on the internet, and that'll show different personalities, and I want to add a bit of fun to it. That's what I'm into. I love having fun, trying to make people laugh. I maybe sometimes try too hard, but I think people are sometimes a little bit too serious, especially in this game, and I just try to find a bit of amusement.
Oh, that's an interesting perspective that you're taking on this. So you want to create your own studio at home, but I think the great advantage is if you can keep getting things out on the net. First of all, it's cost effective. Second of all, you've got control of your own destiny and you can structure where you want the story to go.
Yeah, definitely, Shane. And as I said, there's a few other jockeys that are willing to get involved, and I think it'll be a bit of fun, and it'll just show a different side to us and obviously take that seriousness out of it. But whether or not I get sued for some of the stuff that I do, that'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Just make sure you keep ringing appropriate people to get the right advice before you go ahead with things. This one from David. Chris, what's the latest with your jockey cam? Is this something that's going to be taken off during the Spring Carnival?
Yeah, I think I've actually got a meeting tomorrow with Channel 7 to discuss where we're at with some other different pieces that we want to try and do over the Spring Carnival. But obviously, Jockey Cam was a success. It's something that we can only improve on, and the industry are keen to use it. The jockeys were happy to use it. I think it just showed another perspective of what everyone wants to see, and I can't see why we're not going to use it over the Spring Carnival. We've had a few little hiccups, but RVL and the stewards are really helping me to try and get some more bits and pieces over the line with the helmet cams. So, yeah, I would imagine we'd be still using it.
All right, tweet coming through from Mitchell. How strict is your diet during the week and then also on race day?
Yeah, look, because I ride nearly every day, I have to be quite strict. I try different diets, get different advice from other riders, but everyone's an expert when it comes to losing weight, and I suppose everyone's different. So what works for me probably doesn't work for others, but I do have to watch what I eat, and I do exercise a fair bit.
All right, this one's I'm assuming slightly tongue in cheek from Jane, based on your earlier comment this morning regarding Viagra. Now I understand why you sit so high in the saddle, Chris.
Yeah, that's right. And look, that's part of my workout as well.
Oh, you're killing me. This one from David. Chris, would you like to be given a chance to be perhaps like a number one rider for an operation such as Darley, or do you prefer how it currently sits for you, where you can, share your opportunities around a variety of stables?
I really like the position I'm in at the moment, being able to ride for different people and not be tied down, I suppose. I've got great relationships with a couple of different trainers, which I really enjoy riding for, and I probably wouldn't change the position I'm in at the moment.
All right. From Tim, Chris, a lot of jockeys are currently going overseas. Is that on your radar for the future?
No, I don't think so. I really enjoyed here. I think this is the pinnacle of racing. I think there's no better racing anywhere in the world than here, and obviously I've got my funky farm down on the peninsula, and to find someone to look after that if I was overseas would be difficult with all the animals. So I'm pretty happy here. I'd like to travel more around Australia, which I've discussed with you off air, and obviously while I'm still riding, it's a great opportunity to be able to travel, but not overseas at this stage. All
right, you're riding in South Australia this weekend. You've got Reckless Assassin for the Malua operation in the Lalia. She's a very promising type.
Yeah, definitely didn't really succeed last start. Had to do a lot of work from an awkward draw, and obviously drawn barrier one. It's definitely going to help get the run of the race. I would imagine I wouldn't be too far off the pace, which there looks to be good pace in the race. So I would imagine I might be box seat. So that was a good pickup.
All right, and also Zedi Knight in the Goodwood, the Group 1 feature. The old boy's drawn beautifully in barrier number one. Yeah,
definitely, and again, whether I lead or sit in the box seat, we'll just work it out as it unfolds. But yeah, it was a good pickup ride, and I had a pretty confusing day the other day when the acceptances came out, because I actually had 5 rides here in Victoria, and I had Zedi Knight in South Australia, so I had to get off my rides. Unfortunately, in Victoria, there was just a lack of communication between my manager and a couple of trainers. So, but anyway, I'm rapt to be on him. He was a bit stiff last start, And as I said, he's drawn to get the run of the race. Yes, it is a hard race, but it's still a good opportunity in a Group 1.
It'll be interesting to see how the track plays on Saturday, because you are drawing the fence. Will they all come off the rails like, as you perceive things would unfold last week, or will you still get the opportunity to take advantage of what could, be reasonable ground down on the rail?
Well, I think the rail's back in the true, so that's that ground hasn't been used. So obviously that's going to be the place to be earlier in the day, but that's race 7 ZI night, so anything can happen from race 1 till then. So obviously I'll just keep an eye on what's going on in the races prior and probably walk the track just before, but I wouldn't imagine there'd be much wrong with the fence at that stage.
We've got to give away our segment prize here, $100 meal voucher at Digger Pony Tapas Bar and Lounge, rated amongst the top tapas restaurants in Melbourne, located in Yarraville, only 10 minutes from Flemington. A great spot to pop in for after-race celebrations. Digger Pony offers great menu, daily specials and live music on Sundays. For more info, visit diggerpony.com.au or phone 9689 0110. I'm going to give it to Jane for her slightly amusing comment there, Chris. Good work today. Good luck this weekend. You're riding in fantastic form. Hopefully you'll be able to get a Group 1 prize at Morfordville on Saturday, and I'll catch you next week.
No worries, Shane. Thank you.
In the saddle with Chris Symons. Great having you back in the studio. We'll take a break. Up next, Tom Sadler. It's 28 minutes to 10.
Racing Ahead, brought to you by